The world does not punish poverty. It punishes what looks weak. Picture the same man walking into the same room on 2 different days. Same intelligence, same character. The first time, his clothes are worn, his posture rushed, his voice eager. He feels heat rise in his face as eyes slide past him. Requests go unanswered. Respect evaporates. Weeks later, nothing has changed except perception. Clean lines. Slower steps. Fewer words. The room responds differently. Doors open. People listen. His chest tightens again, but now with clarity instead of shame. This is the truth most men never hear. Status is processed visually before it is processed morally. The system decides before you speak. Once you are read as low status, everything works against you. Not because people are cruel, but because hierarchy is automatic. This is your warning. If you look weak, you will be treated as expendable. And once categorized, human judgment is fast, brutal, and visual. Long before logic engages, the brain scans for cues of value, threat, and cost. Clothing, posture, grooming, pace, and tone become shortcuts. They are not moral judgments. They are survival math. The mind asks one question: how replaceable is this person? That calculation happens in seconds, without permission. Perceived poverty signals scarcity. Scarcity suggests dependency. Dependency invites dominance. When resources look thin, people unconsciously test boundaries, delay respect, and reduce courtesy. Exploitation does not begin with malice. It begins with opportunity. The lower the perceived cost of losing you, the harsher the treatment becomes. This is why politeness fades first, then access, then patience. Poverty cues also trigger dismissal. Humans allocate attention where return is highest. When someone looks depleted, the assumption is future drain, not future contribution. Offers shrink. Explanations shorten. Interruptions increase. You are not evaluated on competence, only on perceived momentum. Stalled momentum reads as risk. This is the instinct Machiavelli observed. Power flows toward strength and withdraws from weakness. Not because strength is virtuous, but because weakness attracts consequences. Systems conserve themselves. They reward what appears self-sustaining and punish what appears costly. The contrast is invisible strength versus visible lack. Invisible strength requires discipline, restraint, and signal control. Visible lack broadcasts urgency, apology, and need. One invites respect without asking. The other invites correction, control, and disregard. Once you understand this mechanism, shame dissolves. You stop taking disrespect personally. You see it as a response to signals, not to your worth. And signals can be changed. When perception shifts, behavior follows automatically. The system recalibrates without explanation, apology, or confrontation. That is why effort alone fails. Working harder while signaling scarcity deepens the penalty. Status is not earned linearly. It is granted conditionally. When your presentation suggests surplus, time, and self-command, friction drops. People cooperate without knowing why. When it suggests deficit, friction multiplies. Understanding this ends confusion. You stop fighting outcomes and start managing signals. Controlled perception and disrespect loses its fuel before it ever forms because hierarchy responds to what is visible, not what is promised inside. Perceived status follows laws, not feelings. Machiavelli understood that power responds to appearance before substance. The first law is simple: appearance precedes truth. People decide who you are before you explain who you are. Clothing, posture, grooming, pacing, and composure speak faster than credentials. Once the judgment lands, evidence is filtered to support it. This is why correcting impressions rarely works. Truth arrives late. Perception arrives first and sets the frame. If you look controlled, you are treated as capable. If you look depleted, explanations sound like excuses. This law is ruthless but neutral. It does not care about intention. It responds to what is visible. The second law follows naturally. Scarcity must never look desperate. Scarcity can create value, but desperation destroys it. When need leaks through voice, speed, or pleading explanations, status collapses. Desperation signals that you are chasing relief, not holding options. People sense urgency and instinctively raise the price of respect. They delay responses. They test boundaries. True power maintains scarcity without broadcast. You may have limited resources, limited time, limited access, but you never advertise hunger. Hunger invites exploitation. Quiet limitation invites negotiation. One weakens your position. The other strengthens it without conflict. The third law separates restraint from display. Visible restraint beats visible wealth. Loud signals attract scrutiny and competition. Controlled signals attract deference. When wealth, effort, or ambition is broadcast, it invites comparison. Comparison invites rivalry. Rivalry drains energy. Restraint communicates surplus without revealing numbers. You move slowly because you can. You speak selectively because you choose. You do not explain because you are not seeking approval. This posture is misread by the insecure as coldness, but power reads it as self-command. Wealth impresses briefly. Restraint stabilizes status long-term. The fourth law warns against predictability. Predictability signals vulnerability. When your reactions are consistent, your boundaries obvious, and your routines exposed, you become easy to manage. Systems, organizations, and individuals exploit patterns. They learn when to push, when to wait, when to ignore. Unpredictability does not mean chaos. It means controlled variability. You respond sometimes and not others. You engage selectively. You refuse to be timed. This forces recalculation. When others cannot forecast your behavior, they hesitate. Hesitation restores leverage. Stability without rigidity is the mark of a sovereign operator. The fifth law accelerates perception shifts. Silence upgrades status faster than speech. Words are often used to compensate for anxiety. Silence signals comfort with uncertainty. When you speak less, each sentence gains weight. Others listen harder, fill gaps, and project competence onto you. Silence also prevents self-sabotage. It removes the impulse to justify, overshare, or explain away authority. In power dynamics, restraint is read as confidence. The man who does not rush to be understood is assumed to understand. This law alone can reverse how rooms respond to you. The final law integrates them all. Control signals matter more than resources. Money fluctuates. Circumstances change. What remains is how you regulate yourself under observation. Pace, tone, posture, and boundaries communicate command even in scarcity. A man with limited means but controlled signals is treated better than a wealthy man who leaks need. Control signals reduce friction because they suggest self-governance. Self-governance reassures systems. They trust what does not beg, rush, or collapse. This is why status can rise before income ever does. You do not wait to become powerful to signal control. You signal control and power follows. These laws are not cosmetic. They are operational. Apply them consistently and perception recalibrates. Doors open without favors. Resistance softens without argument. The world stops punishing you because you stop advertising weakness. Understand this framework as survival literacy. It is not about pretending to be rich. It is about refusing to look unmanaged. When control is visible, systems cooperate. When weakness is visible, systems correct. Choose signals deliberately, and hierarchy responds without debate. Consistency turns signals into reputation, and reputation compounds power quietly over time. In the workplace, the difference appears immediately. The overlooked contributor speaks early, fills silence, explains context before being asked. His shoulders lean forward. His voice speeds up. He wants alignment, so he offers clarity. The room takes notes, then moves on. His ideas are used, but his authority is not. He leaves feeling drained, unseen, replaceable. The unreadable operator behaves differently. He listens longer than expected. He does not rush to prove understanding. When he speaks, it is late and narrow. One sentence reframes priority. No backstory. No defense. His stillness creates weight. The room slows to his pace. Decisions orbit him without acknowledgement. Influence lands quietly. In social settings, low-status signals leak through over-explaining. Someone questions you casually and you justify your choice, your schedule, your absence. Laughter covers the discomfort, but hierarchy shifts. You are now accountable to opinions that were never earned. Respect thins. Sovereign presence answers differently. Short responses. Neutral tone. No apology. You allow pauses to breathe. If someone presses, you repeat nothing. You let curiosity hang unanswered. People adjust their posture around you because you are not seeking approval. You are granting access selectively. In service interactions, the pattern repeats. Rushed compliance signals need. You overthink, oversmile, overaccommodate. The interaction becomes transactional. Delays increase. Boundaries blur. You feel the tightening in your chest as control slips. Controlled pacing reverses it. You wait. You speak clearly. You do not explain urgency. Your movements are unhurried. Suddenly, service improves. Not because you demanded it, but because your behavior suggested time and options. Across every scenario, the internal shift is the same. Old you reacted to avoid discomfort. Sovereign you tolerate silence to preserve position. One trades clarity for acceptance. The other trades acceptance for leverage. This is not about arrogance. It is about restraint. When you stop performing value, others start assigning it. When you stop chasing smooth interactions, respect hardens naturally. Presence, not effort, determines treatment. And once you feel that difference in your body, you never unlearn it. Status signaling works best where perception shapes outcomes. In negotiations, visibility environments, and mixed hierarchies, treatment is guided less by truth and more by reading. Here, restraint is interpreted as confidence. Controlled pacing suggests leverage. Silence invites respect. People respond to what appears self-directed and composed. When you signal dignity, systems cooperate. They listen more carefully, delay less, and test you less aggressively. Status signaling reduces friction because it aligns with how power already moves in these spaces. It backfires in emergencies, trust-first communities, and intimate bonds. When speed, transparency, or emotional access is required, restraint can be misread as detachment. In crises, clarity matters more than composure. In close relationships, excessive withholding creates distance instead of respect. Status signaling is a tool, not an identity. When safety, care, or mutual reliance is the priority, directness restores trust. Power adapts to context or it collapses into rigidity. The critical distinction is dignity versus arrogance. Dignity is quiet. It does not announce itself or seek dominance. It maintains boundaries without humiliating others. Arrogance performs status loudly. It demands recognition, signals superiority, and invites resistance. One stabilizes hierarchies. The other destabilizes them. Observers feel the difference immediately. Dignity calms rooms. Arrogance provokes them. Ethical calibration preserves authority. You are not signaling status to dominate people. You are signaling self-command to prevent exploitation. You withdraw to protect position, not to punish. You remain civil, consistent, and accountable. When asked directly, you answer cleanly. When misalignment persists, you step back without drama. The rule is situational intelligence. Use status signaling where power dynamics are implicit and competitive. Abandon it where cooperation depends on openness. Mastery is not always being unreadable. It is knowing when to be seen clearly and when to remain composed. Applied correctly, status signaling elevates treatment without eroding trust. Applied blindly, it isolates. The sovereign man chooses deliberately. He adjusts signals without losing self-respect. That flexibility is what keeps authority intact across environments, relationships, and long-term reputation games. The upgrade begins when you stop chasing respect and start assuming it. Chasing leaks hunger. Assumption communicates surplus. When you no longer angle for validation, your body relaxes into authority. You stand still. You speak slower. You stop auditioning for approval and start occupying space as if it belongs to you. Detachment is the amplifier. Approval-seeking compresses posture and narrows options. Detachment widens both. You are no longer pulled by reactions, praise, or silence. That calm reads as confidence because it is. The world responds to self-command more reliably than to talent. Talent begs to be seen. Self-command needs no witnesses. Internal abundance replaces external signaling. You do not need to announce worth, explain struggle, or advertise effort. You manage energy, time, and boundaries as if they are valuable, because they are. Scarcity becomes selective. Availability becomes intentional. Your yes gains weight because your no exists. Anchor the identity with simple lines you live by. I move at my pace. I don't explain what stands on its own. I choose when to engage. Silence is not emptiness. It is leverage. These are not affirmations. They are operating rules. As this identity settles, anxiety drops. You stop scanning rooms for permission. You stop narrating your decisions. You let outcomes speak. People recalibrate around you without being told to. Treatment improves before income changes. Access expands before credentials do. Unmistakable presence is quiet and consistent. It does not spike or fade. It endures. You are no longer invisible because you stop trying to be noticed. You are noticed because you stop trying. Consistency under observation compounds trust. Repetition without drama builds reputation. Reputation converts composure into opportunity across rooms, roles, and timelines without explanation, spectacle, or appeal for approval ever again. For 7 days, reverse the signals you project. Begin with posture. Stand still when others fidget. Slow your movements. Let your shoulders drop. Each day, speak less than yesterday. Remove filler. End sentences early. Silence is not awkward when you own it. Day 2 shifts pacing. Delay responses. Minutes, then hours. Not to punish, but to choose. Notice how urgency leaves your body when you stop racing it. Breathe longer. Relax the jaw. Let the impulse to explain rise and fall without action. Day 3 removes needy explanations. No justifying schedules, choices, or absences. Offer statements, not stories. If pressed, repeat nothing. Boundaries are strongest when they are boring. Day 4 centers observation. Watch who leans in, who withdraws, who fills silence. Say nothing. Data accumulates without effort. Day 5 introduces selective withdrawal. Exit conversations early. Close loops cleanly. Preserve energy. Day 6 integrates consistency. Same calm, same pace, everywhere. Day 7 review outcomes, not feelings. Track changes in treatment. Status reverses when behavior changes first. Under observation, maintain composure. Let others adjust. You are not performing, you are resetting signals. When discomfort appears, hold still. The body learns authority before the mind accepts it without explanation or apology ever. The world responds to what it sees, not what you intend. Effort hidden behind weak signals is ignored, while calm control is rewarded without discussion. This is not fair, but it is reliable. Once you stop signaling need, the system recalibrates around you. There is a cost. Some doors close permanently. People who benefited from your urgency will resist your composure. Let them go. Their access depended on your weakness, not your value. Now make the contract. Privately, you agree to manage posture, pace, and silence before you manage outcomes. You agree to let restraint speak louder than explanation. You agree to withdraw cleanly instead of chasing clarity. Hold this line as your anchor. Perception decides treatment, and treatment shapes opportunity. When you control perception, you stop fighting outcomes. You design conditions. Carry this discipline quietly. No announcements. No apologies. The world will answer in time with respect earned back.